Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Not Aspirational. I'm your host, Hannah Aaron Brown. Welcome back. Happy Friday, everyone. I'm so sorry for the delay. Okay, let's get into this. First of all, I was like, let's kick the episode to Thursday, which I'm a creature of habit and routine. Trust me, that was hard. But I was like, how the fuck am I going to come on here and talk about how I rewatched Little Rascals over the weekend and it was amazing and talk about that and only that, I should say, when the Summer House reunion is afoot. And we haven't even gotten to talk about the finale yet because last week I was honored to be joined by Zell Brooks of Who Asked Me to talk about Off Campus. So like, in terms of Summer House and Bravo, I feel like we haven't spoken in years and we needed to touch base on it. But then I was struck ill. I was struck ill by food poisoning. And this is kind of a funny story. And I'm so sorry. We will get into Summer House, but I do have to tell it. So Jake and I realized over Memorial Day weekend that perhaps it could be said that we had been overindulging in our new neighborhood since the end of January. And for me personally, I'm an emotional eater and an emotional drinker. I'm not proud of those things, okay? But it's just the truth. It's the truth, Ellen. From the moment we were told we had to move out, which was October before our trip to London, through now, there's been emotional eating and drinking in one way or another. Because before the move, it was like, I'm so stressed. I'm an emotional eat and emotional drink. Then we got here and I said, I'm so happy to be in this fun neighborhood. Let's walk to bars and restaurants all the time. So over Memorial Day weekend, we said, we have to face the music that things have gotten a little bit out of hand. So we decide to go really aggro and do, wait for it, trigger warning, the cabbage soup diet. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar and didn't do this in high school, which I did it with my mom and my sister in high school at the same time. Me, my mom, my big sister. So imagine two high school girls and then one, I don't want to say she was premenopausal. I don't know where my mom was at in her hormonal journey, but whatever. Two young adult women and one adult woman surviving off cabbage soup for 7 days under a roof together. We were all like, lay off me, I'm starving. It was like so intense. But I was like, Jake, the cabbage soup diet, like some people do Prolon, but like this is it's a much more affordable, like Yolanda Hadid reset. But the cabbage soup diet is like so outdated and kind of fucked up. But I was like, whatever, like let's like shock our systems, cleanse the pipes, shit it all out, shit out all of our sins. And then we'll be back and better than ever to like start at square one and live like normal people again. So, it's all fun and games at first. We're like a day in and I'm like, fuck, I'm hungry. And every day of the cabbage soup diet, there are like different rules. So day one, it's like all the cabbage soup you want and all the fruit you want, but no bananas. Day two, it's all the cabbage soup you want and all the vegetables you want, but no corn and no beans, like no starch. Day three, it's all the cabbage soup you want. And I think it's up to like 6 bananas and skim milk. Then there's a day where it's like you get beef with the soup. Then there's a day where you get like beef and tomatoes with the soup. And then there's a day where you get like rice with the soup. It's like a whole thing. We were only going to do it Monday through Friday. But Tuesday night was my friend's birthday dinner. And I was like, obviously, I'm not going to, it's like my best friend's birthday dinner. She wanted to go out to eat and then go see the new movie Obsession, which I was so excited about. So we go on this cute little double date. We get dinner. I'm like, I'm just going to order super light at this establishment. So, I looked at the menu. I was like, nah, this is good. This is good. You guessed it. I'm really sorry, you guys. Like, this is not, I don't want you all to be concerned for me, okay? I had a moment and I'm back. Trust me. I was karmically punished for what I did. Just wait. I ordered shrimp tacos, but wrapped in lettuce. Hey, I'll have the gust of air for dinner with a side of water. Like, it was pathetic. I eat it. I'm like, lay off me. I'm starving. Because the first day, all I had was cabbage soup and fruit. So I was like so excited for protein. We see the movie Obsession. It's so good. Campy, but like also like really fucked up and like unsettling. Just really well done. I'm obsessed with, what's her name? Indy Navarrete, who plays Nikki. She's a genius. Love her. We get home. I'm like, I got to watch the Summer House reunion like right fucking now. So I'm in bed. I fall asleep during the last like 10 minutes of the summer house reunion, but I simply could not wait until the morning, okay? It was like, that would be like waiting to open gifts on Christmas morning. It would have been impossible. Then I'm awakened at 3 a.m. to stabbing pains. And I wake up and I'm keeping my eyes closed because I'm thinking, I realize in this moment that the movie actually really scared me. Like, this always happens to me. I'll be watching a scary movie and I'll be like, oh, that was spooky. And I'll kind of like laugh with my friends and be like, yeah, that was crazy. Okay, I'm going to go home. And in the middle of the night, I'm like, damn, I actually was scared because now this like haunting image from the movie is like sticking with me and I'm like afraid to open my eyes. So I'm up at 3 a.m. with these stabbing stomach pains. And I'm like, I'm fighting for my life. I'm like, I can't open my eyes because Nikki from the movie will be lurking in a corner somewhere. And I'm scared of that. And then I was like, but God, I think I have to throw up. Fuck, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm scared to open my eyes because I think Nikki from Obsession is going to be lurking in a corner, which she wouldn't be because I would never do that to her the way Bear in the movie did. But that's another conversation entirely. Look it up. It's a fucked up movie. But I'm scared. But then at a certain point, I'm like, I have to open my eyes and go to the bathroom because I am about to throw up. So I yak all over the place, go back to bed, get comfy for all of 2 seconds until I'm like, I think I have to shit. So, I think it was like a year ago, I had norovirus and I talked about it on the pod. And I said that when I first started feeling sick, the stabbing pains, I went, like when Tyler Henry is doing the scribbles when he does a medium reading. That's how I felt. I was like, I think I have to shit now. And let me tell you, not to be dramatic and not to overshare, it came out of both ends. So I was fighting for my life. I'm so sorry. We will get into Summer House, I swear. I was fighting for my life from like 2:45 until 4 a.m. Had to get up to work at 7. The party didn't stop, if you know what I mean. The whole day was a wash. I was like, I cannot talk about such important subject matter while I am literally like depleted of all nutrients, all hydration. Like I'm a shell of myself. So let me just say, it is my highest honor to be back here with y'all talking about this. Okay, so by the way, sorry, two other tangents. Sorry. I watched the Martin Short documentary on Netflix on Monday, and I was so inspired by him and his life. Oh, this is also relevant to what I was just talking about yesterday when I was fighting for my life with food poisoning. So I watched the Martin Short documentary on Monday. It was a beautiful, inspiring film. I loved every second. And Martin Short had this really amazing journey throughout his career, but like he was always such a performer and he loved doing characters. And I was so inspired by it. And then I thought about like how I used to do character work all the time as a kid. And then I thought about like, wow, if I were to do an improv class right now, like I wouldn't even know where to begin. And then I thought about like, oh my God, I haven't done theater in 10 years. And like, oh my God, am I going to be someone who just always daydreams about all the characters I want to play and all the acting I want to do and I'm never going to actually get to do it? And so like then yesterday in my like food poisoning haze, I just started sobbing to Jake. Like my voice got so shrill. I was just sobbing about how I felt like so inspired by Martin Short, but how I felt so far away from all my character work and how as a little kid all I did was characters. And I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to begin to come up with a character. And it was so over the top. And I started like frantically texting my friends being like, do you know of a clown class that I could take? I need to take a clown class. And I'm not exaggerating. I will be taking a clown class because I need to get in touch with my inner child. I need to be a silly goose in more ways than just going to the bar. Okay. So I had a full-blown existential mental breakdown while I was fighting for my life with food poisoning. But all that to say, the Martin Short documentary was amazing. And also, I have not stopped rewatching the beginning of episode 5 of Off Campus because I'm a pervert. And in case you're wondering what happens in the beginning of episode 5 of Off Campus, it is, you guessed it, the sex montage. And it's a really great montage because it's equal parts like steamy sex and like cutesy falling in love and like put it in my veins right fucking now. And then yesterday when I was like super sick, I was thinking like, what am I going to watch? Because I don't know about y'all, but when I'm sick, I'm like, I need to be selective with what I watch because I don't want to associate something that I love with like a bad memory, like with feeling horrible. So I decided to watch season 1 of Cruel Summer, which was a freeform show that came out in like 2022. And it's so dark and stormy and like moody, but also like a great thriller. And so if you're like sick anytime soon and you're like, what the fuck do I watch? Watch Cruel Summer. I binged it for like 7 hours while going like in and out of sleep and like hysteria. And it held up. It was wonderful. But that's not what we're here to talk about today, y'all. We have a lot of Summer House stuff to catch up on, and I'm going to try to keep this organized, but I might not because there's just like so much to cover. I'm doing my best. It's a lot. We're going to discuss, because we didn't get to discuss it before, the finale highlights. I'll keep that brief. Part 1 of the reunion thoughts and your listener questions. In what order? Who's to say? Where will I bounce around to? Who the fuck knows? But before we get into that, I do need to say, West and Amanda fled the country upon the reunion airing, which, like, every time I think they can't get more cowardly, they do. And the thought of them just, like, retreating to Roma and enjoying, like, stunning Italian food while the internet rips them a new asshole, it just, like, shows that they're more out of touch than ever, and they're still not ready to take accountability. And it pisses me off knowing that a creator on Instagram made a reel where it was, like, Amanda and West in Rome right now, like, sharing pasta, and, like, that right now they feel nothing. They don't feel bad about what they did. They're just irritated that the internet's mad at them right now. So they're just, like, literally right now as I'm recording this, probably, like, sharing, a plate of pasta, and West is like, "Amanda, have you tried this rigatoni Z's?" And she's like, "West, you're so funny." And that's it. And I honestly, do you ever think about, like, what do they even talk about? What do they talk about? I mean, I'm not saying either of them are, like, a deep emotional well that have, like, a lot to offer in terms of introspection and intellect, but genuinely, what do they talk about? Anyway, they're in Rome right now, and I think that's not shocking, but also crazy. Does that make sense? Anyways, finale. Okay, headline is West and Amanda are diabolical freaks. Headline is Sierra was too involved in Kyle and Amanda's relationship, but I don't think that was entirely her fault because Amanda put her in a weird ass position and she was doing the best she could to navigate both sides as someone who's friends with them both. And by the way, she was abiding by girl code the whole time. Like, as far as, like, yes, she was friends with Kyle, but she would have picked Amanda in that divorce, like, hands down. Headline is Carl will always be turned on by Lindsay, and that makes me feel deeply safe. Even if Lindsay shits on Sharon publicly, Carl does not care. He will always look at Lindsay and be like, "What a woman." And I love that. It makes me feel safe. Headline is Sabrina. You guys, Sabrina is an unsettling presence. Honestly, she's giving Nikki from Obsession, but, like, with Sierra. She's so intense. And I can spot girls like this because I've had them in my orbit before, let's just say. When she said in the finale to Sierra, "You've been the biggest blessing of my life. From the minute I met you, I felt so instantly safe." I was like, something about this isn't right to me, because we always talk about love bombing in romantic relationships, but we don't talk about it enough in friendships. And I think only deeply lonely, insecure, codependent women do it. Speaking from my experience, I'm speaking from my experience. And mind you, I have been deeply lonely and insecure and codependent before. But if a woman has met me one time and all of a sudden it's, "Oh my God, I love you. You're my best friend." It's like, it's fucking weird. And I also think if you layer on top of that the fact that Sabrina feels that way about Sierra, but also Sierra is stunning. She has everything going for her. She's a reality TV star who's quickly, like, ascending to, like, just superstar in general. I'm like, Sierra, girl, run. And this is just on a personal note. The fact that Sierra met me, I'm sorry, just walk with me here. The fact that Sierra met me at BravoCon and did not fuck with me at all, but she fucks with Sabrina, that is tough for me. That's a tough, like, pill for me to swallow. Like, it's like in high school when the popular girl, like, befriends, like, a weird girl and you're a weird girl too. And you're like, well, what the fuck did she do that I didn't do? You know what I mean? I thought I was playing it so cool, but I guess the secret is to just, I don't know, Sabrina has a je ne sais quoi, okay? And don't take that as me talking shit about Sierra, because I'm not in the mood. I'm obviously not talking shit about Sierra. I'm jealous that Sabrina did some magical spell to make Sierra think she was cool, because respectfully, I think it's too much and I don't see it. Sabrina's behavior is freaking me out. Moving right along. When Wes told Ben to tell Sabrina to not tell me and Sierra to date, and then he proceeded to make out with her, I was just like, ew, ew, ew. And then he admitted when he was drunk that he really wants to, like, jump Sierra's bones, but he isn't trying to portray that he's a boyfriend. I'm like, if you don't want to portray that you're into someone, you just shouldn't fool around with them. And shout out to friend of the pod, Claire. She clocked that thesis that she's like, you could see on Sierra's face when they finally kissed that night, like after the skiing party, that she was like, "Oh my God, it finally happened. Oh my God, it finally happened." And, like, it's true. She was so excited. And, like, who among us has not been in an on-again, off-again situationship with a guy where you just want to rekindle things so bad? And when it finally works, you're like, yes, this is all I've wanted. Maybe now things will be different. Maybe this time. I don't know the other words, but maybe this time it'll be different. So I really felt for her in that moment. And I was just like, West, you know that she's emotional about the way things, like in their conversation a handful of weeks ago, she was like crying, being like, I care about you so much. Like, he knows the grasp he has on this woman. So don't fucking kiss her when you guys are fucked up. If you don't want to portray that you're a boyfriend, take romance off the table. Do not kiss her on her gorgeous face. Don't piss me off. Okay. Also, Amanda, I mean, a shock to no one. She pissed me off a lot in this finale. I think she's the epitome of the Amy Dunn Gone Girl, Cool Girl speech. I'm sure I've said this before, but whatever, I'm going to repeat it. When Amy Dunn's like, cool girls like are always game. Cool girls drink beer. Cool girls eat pizza and remain a size 2. I think that's like Amanda's playbook. And then also, I just thought Amanda like actively avoiding Kyle that entire party was like also tough to watch. And I do think while Kyle is not a perfect person, in the words of Hoobastank, he's not a perfect person, okay? I do think I think she gets off on humiliating him at this point. I think it's like she is so repelled by his existence that I think her being like, no, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. And I think when people like kind of dogpile on him, I think she enjoys that, which we've seen over the last few weeks. And then her being like, let's all jump in the pool. And she wants to have these like intimate moments of connection with quite literally everyone but her husband. And then the next morning when she's like, can we all say family? Family. I was like, give me a break. What in the Full House hell is this? Enough with your sitcom theatrics. I know your fucking number, okay? I know your number, Amanda Batula. You were popular at overnight camp starting in 5th grade, okay? Because your parents had the means to send you off for not 4, but 8 weeks. 8 weeks, which is what all the rich girls did. And they were always the most popular ones at camp because they had the most time to bond with the counselors and the camp directors. I'm speaking from personal experience here as someone who only went for 4 weeks, okay? Amanda Batula has been popular since she was a child. And I genuinely think that she sees Sierra as the biggest threat that she has ever come up against. And she simply could not take it. So she took away the dolly that Sierra likes the most, okay? Anyway, they all get in the pool. And then, in the end, when like Wes and Amanda are hugging by the door and he's like caressing her hair and whispering in her ear, and then Sierra walks up and they kind of separate and look at each other like they're all concerned. Like, it's just all weird. It's all really fucking weird. Okay. Then Amanda and Kyle had their chat, and I have to jump to the opening scene of In the City as well, because like the end of the finale went into In the City. And I guess my biggest thing is like, I think, again, Kyle is not a perfect person, but I think cutting to the beginning of In the City, they filmed that on April 9th, which was 10 days after the statement from Wes and Amanda dropped. And I think Kyle showed Amanda like a lot of grace and a lot of kindness, being like, hey, you look skinny. I'm worried about you. And she's like, yeah, I'm worried about me too. Like, I think Amanda loves that she's like, that Kyle's like concerned about her. And she's just a baby, like, as if she isn't responsible for this entire mess. Her and West, of course. But in that conversation, I was really darked out by the way that she immediately flipped things on Kyle when Kyle said, you have to understand that thinking back to last summer and knowing about all this, it looks like you were 1 foot out the door. And she like immediately starts crying. It's like, oh my God, that's so messed up. Like, I've been trying the best that I can. And for you to like think that I'm not and accuse me of that is just so messed up. I've been friends with girls like this who the second you hold them accountable, they flip it and make you feel like the asshole for acknowledging what you perceive to be true, and or just acknowledge how you feel, because everyone in the situation is allowed to have feelings. And then they turn on the waterworks and it's the like, oh my God, oh my God. It makes me so fucking angry. I'm thinking back to this one friendship I had where I'm still so angry thinking about it. Anyways, neither here nor there. And Amanda like immediately flips it and then is like, but you cheated on me. So for you to even say that is just like so hurtful. I would never do that to you because I know how painful it is because you cheated on me. And Kyle's like, no, I didn't. And she's like, there's a video. And he's like, okay. And I just was like, I don't think it's fair at a certain point to stay with someone knowing that they cheated on them. Like, Amanda knew that Kyle cheated on her, like before they were even official? Like, Kyle's been a dum-dum, respectfully, their entire fucking relationship, okay? And she decided to stay with him. Now, personally, I think had Kyle not been the hinge from her to Summer House, from her to reality TV stardom, I don't think they would have stayed together. I think that that was a shiny prize that she saw associated with Kyle. So she was going to grin and bear it through all of it. And it didn't end up working out. But like at a certain point, it's like, babe, you decided to continue with this relationship. You decided to marry him. And it's not fair for you to throw the cheating in his face every time he brings up something that you did, because you are also another party in this relationship and you also have responsibilities and you also are obligated to, ideally, in a healthy marriage, you are obligated to do your best to show up as a partner as proactively as you can. And again, I'm not saying two truths can coexist. I just want to drive that point home because no one on the internet seems to understand that two truths can coexist. Kyle's a shitty husband. I think Amanda was also a shitty wife. And I think that she pretended to forgive a lot of things for the sake of staying with Kyle for the show that she wouldn't have otherwise forgiven. Did I say that right? That she wouldn't have otherwise forgiven? I think that's correct. And then conveniently throws it in his face every time she's held accountable for something she did wrong. And I don't think that's fair. I just don't think it's fair. So moving on to the reunion. Okay. First of all, I loved how it started with Kyle crashing Lindsay's confessional for In the City. The reunion opened on that clip of Kyle crashing Lindsay's confessional, being like, "You might want to check your phone," on March 31st. Then there's this, it was cinematic. Like, what a fucking rush. Then Jesse calls Lindsay and goes, "Bro." Then Mia and Carl get patched in. And then Kyle, we find out that West texted Kyle an hour before the statement. Kyle was shook because he had spent time with West and West's family on the ranch. I feel like this is like West's move. It's like, I don't know if this is a real thing, but you know when like how sometimes like serial killers like get off on like murdering someone in like the same spot? It's like, this is where I take all my victims. Like I really think West is like, it's like a signal. Like if West is going to fuck you over, he will take you to the family ranch. He did it to Sierra. He did it to Kyle. Okay. So Kyle is shook. Then Carl, sweet Carl, is on the phone. He's like, "You don't touch a married woman like that." And Jesse's like, "You also don't fuck your friend's wife of 10 years. And then sweet Mia is in LA for work. And she's like, "I am texting Sierra right now. I'm considering flying back to New York City to be there for Sierra," which is peak girlhood. Like, I think Mia is just a shining example of not just girlhood, but just how to be a human. I think she's such a beautiful person, but we'll get more into that later. Apparently, Amanda called Kyle the night before the statement dropped and revealed that her and Wes had been hanging out for a month, allegedly. But then Kyle's like, "But the blinds go back to June 2025. So then we cut to the reunion. The morning of the reunion, it's shot on April 23rd. Lindsay shows up in her rollers. She was everything to me in this reunion. Now, very dear friends of mine are like, "I think she's doing too much. I think she's on a high horse. Why is she in a revenge dress at this reunion? She's making it about herself." Something about Lindsay showing up in those rollers, she is giving me, with peace and love in my heart, I say this as the highest honor, but she's giving me just like a woman of a certain age who like rips cigs all day, based in the sun, / she's giving me like a soap opera star. She's giving me Celeste Talbert in Soap Dish, Sally Field circa Soap Dish. Like, she's showing up with her rollers and she is not fucking around. And I find that deeply comforting. It might be like a Leo sister thing, but I find her deeply comforting this entire reunion. KJ and Carl immediately clocked the weird behavior of the baseball game that West and Amanda went to the day Sierra's cover came out. And KJ is like super broken up about this because he considered West a brother. Then West shows up to his shared room with Amanda. And it must be said that her hair looked like a duty bomb. I just think I was confused by Amanda's styling choices. And I've said this before. I just think she should have gone full villain mode. And we must think back to, walk with me on this, when Ariana Madix showed up to the Vanderpump Rules Season 2 reunion holding hands with Tom Sandoval in front of a broken Kristen Doty. She had that long-ass braid. She had a blazer dress cut down to her navel with her titties out. A smoky eye, a nude lip that blended in with her face because those were the times, and then a spray tan to the gods. And even though I don't think that Ariana was necessarily the villain, although I do think in that era she definitely had pick-me-girl tendencies. We love her now. We love an arc. We love a journey, okay? But I like that Ariana came to that reunion being like, "I'm dating Tom and I'm going to look the hottest I've ever fucking looked. And fuck you, Kristen, and fuck anyone and what they think about this." I thought that took some balls. And again, I think it's interesting that Amanda's audacity goes so far and yet it conveniently stops with her reunion look. Like, she had this like half pulled through bun. I will give her credit for the glam. I thought her makeup looked really good and her tan looked good. Then she was in this flowy, like Grace Farrell circa We've Got Annie from the movie Annie. We Got Annie. It was a slutty Grace Farrell costume in a butter yellow, like an innocent butter yellow. And again, like, had it been any other reunion, I would have been like, oh, she looks good. But I just thought that her styling choices were weird. And also the hair. I was just like, is it a ponytail? Is it a bun? I need you to pick a lane. Pick a lane. Okay, so then Amanda's like, I don't know if I can't breathe because I'm anxious or because my corset is so tight. And then Wes says he feels zen. Andy checked on Sierra in her dressing room and she immediately started crying, which was so heartbreaking because Amanda and Wes seemed fine. And some people are like speculating like, oh, like was Amanda on some sort of like beta blocker or like relaxing drug of some sort? And like that wouldn't be shocking to me at all. But I think drugs aside, she seems fine. The way they're conducting themselves in their lives seems fine. The way Wes has talked about Sierra like 7 times at this point on his like, podcast, he seems fine. They both seem fine. So it was heartbreaking to see Sierra cry in front of Andy because this is obviously so raw and like fucked up for her. And then it's revealed that West's dick pic circulated the internet. And what I thought was funny is that Jesse immediately was like, who sends it flaccid? Which is a great question. Like, it's not a flattering shot of a dick to send it flaccid. And also, like, I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't have a lot of male listeners. I see my analytics, trust and believe. But I just don't really know any, like, I'm going to speak for cis straight women because that's me. I don't think we really want a dick pic. I don't think so. I don't personally. I like a picture of a man in like some black boxer briefs, like maybe grabbing his junk, do a little like Marky Mark circa Calvin Klein work. Like that can be sexy to me. And even like if you're kind of making fun of it while you do it, that's sexy to me. But like just a penis? I don't give a fuck enough. So Wes sent his flaccid dick around. Everyone's like making fun of it. And Amanda and Wes are just like, you know, the truth's already out there, so our focus today is to shut down the rumors. I also really appreciated the pre-reunion moment where Kyle and Sierra like hugged each other and Sierra like apologized and was like, I didn't realize how down bad you were last summer. And they kind of have a like a pact where they're like, we're not going to get mad. We're not going to storm off. Kyle's not going to drink. Sierra's like, I'm not going to cry. I thought it was really smart that Kyle wasn't drinking because Kyle flies off the handle. We've seen this a bunch of times. And Amanda loves when he flies off the handle because she can point to something and be like, he's bad, he's crazy, he's unhinged. And so I think for both of them to go in clear-headed and be like, this is my game plan was really, really smart. And I love that they were there for each other. Also, when Andy checked in with Wes and Amanda and they were both like, yeah, we're fine. Andy was like, okay, so you both seem really calm. And I love that was like some light Andy shade where he's like, okay. I love when we get to watch Andy toe the line of being like, quote, an impartial host, but also like we know he's not impartial and seeing like his human feelings about things like come through in the context of him like hosting these reunions. I thought like, what a ride. And then when Andy left and Wes was like, that wasn't so bad. And Amanda smiles and she goes, that was nothing. When they got on stage, Wes starts nervously clicking his tongue and Amanda's like, don't do that when you're talking. And then he realizes the dick pic is circulating and he like doesn't really seem to care. He's like, well, I guess my dick pic just came out. So that's, you know, cool news to get right before starting this. And Andy's like, wow, when it rains, it pours. And Amanda goes, so weird. I've never gotten any. And I just felt like her reaction to this whole thing was like, Jesse was like, yeah, I have one of them. And Wes like looks over to look at it. And Amanda's like leaning over and her like tongue's out like as she's looking at the dick pic. And it's just like the way she's like pissing on Wes like a fire hydrant. Like she just wants everyone to know that like she's seen his dick. And like she didn't get a dick pic, which is like kind of surprising because like they fuck now. Like I just felt like she really got off on like being like on the boys' couch and like being part of the dick pic conversation. I thought it was fucking weird. And I mean, I shouldn't be shocked when Amanda does something weird now, but it was still annoying. Andy asks Amanda how she's doing as they kick off the reunion. And she's like, I'm prepared to own up to what I've done, take accountability and apologize to everyone, especially Sierra and Kyle, and hopefully be able to explain to everyone's face, you know, what went on and where I'm coming from. And she does her signature robotic slow blink. And I mean, that response gave a level of PR training, but like PR training from whomst? And she gave no like razzle dazzle. You know what I mean? It was just like, I will say these words and people will forgive me now. And that's the thing is like, you can always tell when someone does that because they're not fucking sorry. Like there is no actual apology. And she wouldn't need to strategize what to say or how to say it if she actually was sorry and she's not. So then Sierra turns to Kyle and she's like, I'm glad she could say her name. And Amanda goes, what? And Sierra goes, I'm glad you could say her name this time. And Amanda scoffs. She goes, and I guess like my overarching thought with Amanda's behavior throughout the reunion is she came in so fucking hot and so fucking defensive with the eye rolling and the what and the scoffing, like immediately. She like clearly felt like she was being wrongly accused of something and that she did nothing wrong and that like this is all just so much hoopla for no fucking reason. And it blew my fucking mind. And again, I think this is what happens when you are enabled from a young age from your parents and your boyfriend and whoever the fuck else, your friends. Katie DeLuca, her one friend left. Right now you only have Katie. You'll probably mess that up too. In the immortal words of Ramona needs to walk Amanda down the Brooklyn Bridge and give her a piece of her fucking mind. I do think that might be the only thing that can scare Amanda straight at this point. But it's like, it's clear that she's just been surrounded by enablers her entire life and she's like physically incapable of any sort of self-reflection or work. And that's the thing. Tefi Pessoa, love her, posted a video about this and she was like, it is not the mistakes we make that show our character. It's how we act after. And the way Amanda has acted after this, and Wes too, but I do think girl betrayal hits different. The way Amanda has acted after this has just revealed her character to be fucking rotted. And every time I think it can't get worse, it does. So moving along, Sierra reveals that she first became suspicious on January 17th. She said she went to call Amanda to invite her to drinks with herself and Mia, but she looked at Amanda's location and she was at West's house and Amanda wasn't responding. She ignored Sierra's calls and texts, but only responded when Mia threw Amanda and Sierra on a group chat together. And Amanda immediately gets so defensive and so whiny. And she's like, well, and Sierra goes, I'm speaking. And she says, shut the fuck up. And then Amanda immediately starts making excuses. And Mia was like, well, you were prioritizing your friendship with Wes. And she's like, I wasn't. Oh my God, I had an awakening. And she insists that she was hanging out with lots of other people. And they're all like, you literally have no other friends besides Katie DeLuca. And then Sierra alludes to the fact that she was only hanging out with Wes' friends. And, you know, they're naming a few people. And Sierra goes like, yeah, and they're also friends with Wes. And Amanda goes, no, not just friends with Wes. Fuck off. And I just can't imagine. I'm paraphrasing that whole exchange, but you get it. Point is, 5 minutes into the reunion, she goes, fuck off to Sierra. In the tone of Heather Mooney, circa Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. Ooh, Toby, fuck off. That's how she said it to Sierra. And I just thought, you have some fucking nerve to do what you did to your best friend of 6 years who was in the trenches with you in your piece of shit marriage from hell for like 6 years and then caressed your face at the end of the season and said, you are so beautiful, you matter, your voice is important. And you did this to her and you have the audacity to tell her to fuck off within 5 minutes of this shit starting. And obviously, like, yes, it's edited together. I don't know when this actual exchange happened over the course of the day. Point is, at no point during the day do I think it was warranted or justified for Amanda to go, fuck off to Sierra. Like, what is wrong with you? Also, then Sierra says, shut the fuck up, Amanda. You don't want to go down this bridge with me. I don't see your man standing up for you now. West is sitting there, silent, for like 99.9% of this reunion. It is shocking how much damage this man has done and then how little he has to say. And again, Bravo is a lot of the time a pissing contest of who is the most insufferable person while also being fun to watch at times. And I will say, at a reunion, even Jax Taylor gives us something. The fact that West could do all this damage and then just sit there like some fucking schmo waiting to get his number called at the DMV. Like, how dare you? You're going to do all that and you're not going to give us any razzle dazzle at this reunion in your rumpled suit that you look like you slept in? Get out of town. Grow up. So then it's revealed that they both lied to Jesse, and Jesse has a timeline prepared. And West is like, he's like, I totally lied. Yeah. So West acknowledges that he lied, and Sierra says that West lives a different life off camera. She's like, no one knows who you actually are. And then drops the bomb. that he has a girlfriend named Miha who famously made the horsehair tie. Okay. So they're all like, what the fuck? You had the secret girlfriend. She spent the night with him the night before the Watch What Happens live appearance when he was wearing said horsehair tie, which was in March when the West and Amanda rumors were circulating. Okay. So then he says that they were not official, but she said that they were exclusive. And then Amanda's like, yeah, I knew he was dating her and I didn't care. We had a conversation about it. And this is when Mia goes in and she's like, you went from being a married woman to being one of West's side bitches. That's crazy. And Amanda, in full don't worry, darling mode, is like, okay. And then smiles. And I was like, what is happening? What in the don't worry, darling hell is happening? Again, Amy Dunn, cool girl playbook. Yeah, I don't care that he has a secret girlfriend. And I'm just like, babe, are you that broken and insecure that you are so excited to be chosen that you don't care if your name is dragged through the mud with this man when he had a full other girlfriend on the side while you betrayed your best friend? Like, it's so sad. So then Sierra clocks that Amanda and Kyle are still married in the state of New York, and Amanda immediately goes into gaslighting, flipping the narrative mode as per usual. And she's like, oh, so I'm supposed to be celibate and single for the rest of my life until the judge signs the paper? And Sierra's like, no, but there are a million other guys in New York City. And then Andy clocks that any viewer of the show would notice that it's weird that West and Amanda didn't acknowledge Kyle or Sierra by name in the statement. And they declare that it was not a PR statement. Amanda makes a bad joke about how ChatGPT wrote it. And Sierra's like, no, ChatGPT is a lot smarter than that statement. And Amanda's like, I was kidding. I think Amanda, I don't know if she's just like late to the party when she realizes how quick Sierra is. Maybe she thought because Paige DeSorbo isn't there that she like wouldn't have someone just like going in on her as quickly as Sierra was. But Sierra was ready with a response for everything. And we'll get into it later, but some people are debating about like, oh, she was too mean. I don't think so. I don't think so. With Love and Light, I don't think so. I think that Amanda wasn't giving enough given what she did. And so Sierra gave enough for the both of them as far as like really putting her on the spot for what she did. Then we review the text between Amanda and Sierra. This was a bone-chilling moment. So Amanda tells Sierra that she and West are just friends. And at this time, we find out later that something was happening, but Amanda alleges it was all PG. Jesse says, why continue to lie? Great point. Sierra then confirms to Amanda via text. She's like, okay, cool. So you guys are just friends. So I can expect that no photos or videos will come out. And Amanda fully gaslights her and is like, nope, nothing. Just what I posted myself. And Sierra's like, to be clear, since you're not being clear, you have not held hands, made out, hooked up, etc. And Amanda just goes, correct. Now, as far as like having each other's locations go, I literally forget that people have my location and I never check my friends' locations. But thank God Sierra does. And everyone clocks that it was weird that Amanda suddenly turned off her location. She's like, it's not. I don't want people to know where I am. I don't want my management to know where I am. And everyone's like, yeah, it's because you were doing something sketchy that you didn't want people to know where you were. And that's so true. It's like, I don't remember who has my location because I'm like, cool, you see that I'm home. Cool, you see that I'm at the bar down the street, big fucking deal. But when you're doing something sus, you turn off your location. Lindsay was like, I mean, if I knew I was doing something wrong, I would have turned off my location. And it's true. It's like, that's the only fucking reason. So then West and Amanda say that their first kiss was the end of February after brunch that night. So like West and all the guys went to brunch that day. That night, him and Amanda kissed for the first time. They alleged that they first slept together after the statement. Not that night, but like maybe the next day. And I was like, that is so dark and weird to me. It's almost like, wow, nothing turns me on more than setting our lives and our loved ones' lives ablaze. Am I right? Like, it's like, if there were actually feelings there, why did it matter if you fucked before or after the statement? Now, I don't think they're telling the truth, honestly. Unless, no. I was going to say, unless they're the types of people that are so turned on by like a naked make out being like, we can't. And then when they finally could, they were like, let's do it. It's all out there anyway, baby. Let's just do it. Maybe they were just like, they're the kinds of freaks that are like turned on by like how taboo it was. But just given like how touchy-feely they were last summer and then like how much they were partying together, how much they were drinking together, how they were hanging out all the time, I just have a hard time believing that they didn't, you know what I bet it was? I bet their first time was like, they went to brunch, they got really drunk. They went back to West to, quote, take a nap at like 1 p.m. And then they had like a nooner. like a little nooner, drunky hookup. Definitely before the statement dropped. That's my theory. March 7th, Amanda asks Sierra if she wants to talk because she's like, I'm just feeling so weird about this. And like, I just, for things to be weird between us because of West is so silly. And like, Amanda loves using the word silly to downplay weird shit she does. Like, she called the licking of the buffalo wings silly. She's like, I'm just being silly because of like what's going on with me and Kyle. And then like at the dinner where Kyle like flew off the handle, Amanda was like, oh my God, I'm being silly, Kyle. She loves using the word silly to like gaslight people, and it really, really bothers me. And then Amanda at the reunion is like, okay, so no one's ever been in a situation like this. And Lindsay's like, in high school, maybe. And then Bailey and Mia have like a little sidebar where they're like, wow, West isn't saying anything. And then Levi joins the stage. And I felt like Damien in Mean Girls. I was like, she doesn't even go here. She's in a, quote, soft bar green sequin dress. And Levi's like, yeah, I had a good time. I just don't think, I got as much screen time because like the guys didn't really like me. Which I was like, that's devastating, but it is like par for the course on the show where unfortunately, unless the guys like think you're hot, they're not really going to give you the time of day, which is like where my issues with West began when he posted that like, or when he got in trouble on TikTok a couple of years ago over St. Patrick's Day when those girls are like, we asked him to dance and he called us weird. I'm like, was it because you didn't want to fuck them? And I do think with this group of guys, maybe, I do believe Carl is the exception because he's a sweetie. I do think and KJ, obviously sweetie. Okay. But I think with like Jesse, Kyle, and West, I think they're the types of guys that like if they think you're hot, they'll be super sweet. But if they don't, they won't give you the time of day. And I do feel that that's what happened to Levi. And that makes me sad. By the way, I think Levi is beautiful. But it's like if Jesse's type is like Lexi Wood, apples and oranges. We find out that Mia and Sierra are living in the same building. That is so fun. Being young, hot, rich, and famous in the same building with your best friend is truly the dream. And then Mia talks about her grief and the waves of like being okay and then being stuck to her couch because she feels so alone regarding losing her mom. And I just thought Mia's like vulnerability was relatable and refreshing. And, as someone who's lost a parent, I was just like seeing someone who is so empowered and settled in herself and her life talk about the realities of feeling like you're killing it some days and then other days being like, I'm just fucking out because of this loss is so real. And I was so happy that she spoke about that at the reunion. She also talks about how she dumped Scott's ass and she's always the dumper, not the dumpy. Yes. And then she says that she's not looking to jump into something else and she just wants to celebrate herself. And I was like, Amanda, take notes. That is what a well-adjusted adult woman looks like. Then Bailey came for Ben, which was a highlight for me. I do think it was like funny that they were sitting next to each other and she kind of had to just like give him hell, like literally just like looking to her, left, right? But yeah, she talks about how she thinks he likes reprimanding women and she doesn't like the way he talked to her or Amanda or Sabrina. She says that when he talks to Kyle, he looks like he's going to make out with him, which is so true. She's like, no matter how wrong he is, you look like you're going to make out with him. But with women, you like take this tone. And Ben is like, he's like, well, I thought of Amanda as one of the guys. And Bailey's like, I think the reason you got so mad is because you were secretly dating Sabrina the whole time. And then they show that like he and Sabrina had a photo on Sabrina's Instagram as early as like April. And then he's like, well, why were you turned on by Carl's rage then? And she's like, I was turned on by Carl's rage because Carl was defending a woman and that's hot. And you would never do that, you fucking jackass. And Carl is just smiling and cheesing that entire exchange, which I loved. Everyone said they would ship Carl and Bailey. I thought that was a very forced relationship, but like whatever, like let them live. And then Jesse's like, sometimes it's good to be friends with someone before you start dating. And Amanda goes, no way, that's crazy. And I was like, bitch, it's not the same thing. Don't piss me off. Then there was a really cute moment where they celebrated KJ's friendship with Sierra and Mia. And KJ also got really vulnerable. He revealed that he had to go to the hospital in the fall for self-harm and that Mia and Sierra were there almost every day, which I thought was really, really sweet. And he said he had to go to recovery. And I was thinking about his relationship with Dara and how like on social media, it seemed really like hot and fast. But if she was by his side through all of that, I could see why that would like create a really strong bond. And he revealed that he was diagnosed with BPD, which I've heard is just a really challenging, disorder to have. So if she saw him, through those hard times, I could see why they were so close. By the way, quick tangent about Dara and KJ though, is that apparently like he took all of his pictures of her off on Instagram, but like pictures of them together, like pictures of him are still up on her Instagram, but now they don't follow each other anymore, which really concerns me. I want them to be okay. I'm like, work it out, guys, please. Like, I don't know if this is like the result of some big fight they had, but I'm just like, you guys, please don't do this to me. Like, I love them together. I ship. Also, they haven't even started filming yet. Like, I want to see a season of them being like cutesy and in love and in the house at the same time. Like, I want Dara to be like a series regular, not just like a dropping in and out. Then Sierra talks about her home renovations, and Amanda fully dissociated. And you could tell she was just like seething as everyone just celebrated Sierra's accomplishments. And like Mia told Sierra to stop downplaying her success and that she wanted to celebrate her. A listener wrote in celebrating what a big deal it was that as a Black woman in America, Sierra got this house just a few generations separated from slavery. And then KJ's like, I look up to you so much, Sierra. Like, I want my younger sisters to be like you. I like fully cried and had chills. I just thought that was a really, really sweet moment. And then fucking West word salads his way through talking about Sierra's house, where he's like, yeah, like later we got to like talk about it, and it's like sentimental stuff like that. Sentimental stuff like that seems like such a stupid surface level response to what this house obviously means to Sierra on like so many different levels. She talked about it on the show. She's talked about it to West like face to face. And you're just going to reduce it to sentimental stuff like that? I literally felt like Miranda Priestley. I was like, this stuff? I can't. So then they talk about the makeout between West and Sierra on the last night of the summer. And they say it was ear stuff. And Amanda just sits there wide-eyed and she's like, I was not aware they were canoodling to that extent. And Kyle asks West if he's like breadcrumbing people with his behavior and if it was all bullshit and he was using it as a storyline. And Sierra was like, no, him being with Amanda was the best kind of revenge that West could execute. Now, we know from the trailer that Sierra is going to say, like, he's only with Amanda to spite me. I'm in Sierra's corner 100%. I don't think West is that smart. I think he's calculated in other ways for sure. And we're going to get into what Lindsay said because I completely agreed with her. But I don't think he's that calculated. I literally think he is a selfish douchebag who does not think about other people, only thinks about himself, only thinks about who he's perceived. And I think he doesn't think more than 2 steps in front of him when it comes to like getting his dick wet, I guess. Like, because I think we'll get into what Lindsay said, like I said, but like I think when it comes to career stuff, I think he is very concerned with like public opinion. But I think when it comes to like interpersonal relationships, I think it's all lip service. I don't think there's actual, I don't think he gives a fuck. I don't think he gives a fuck that he hurts Sierra's feelings. I think he is the type of guy that could like caress her hair and cry and say he like cares. I don't even know if he cried, honestly, but like say he cares about her so much and then turn around and do something. I think that's the kind of guy he is. I think he's very much like in the moment, like this is what I want right now. I want Amanda right now. I'm going to seize this opportunity. And then, by the way, I got from one of my friends, I got a text. Can you believe Love Island starts next week? I'm so excited. Okay, so shout out to friend of the pod, Tess, who flagged this Queens of Bravo post, which was a user from Threads who said, West noticed a few weekends into the summer that Amanda was looking like the victim of a horrible marriage. He realizes she may come out of this season with the fame and opportunity akin to Ariana Madix. He then decides to lean into looking like a supportive friend and hero for Amanda so he can weasel his way into capitalizing on her after-season success. New network of opportunities unlocked. You cannot convince me otherwise. And I was like, damn, that's so in keeping with what Lindsay said. Then Kyle responded and said, of all the theories, this is what I believe. Just looked back and did a rewatch of my street interview on 4-1. I discussed this very concept and refer to him trying to be a knight in shining armor and saying what women want to hear in part 3 of Adam Glenn's videos on TikTok. He hitched his wagon to Amanda, and as someone referred to it on Reddit, white knighted too far. And Lindsay responded, and bingo was his name-o. So with that, let's get into what Lindsay said. So Lindsay said, you are so fucking good. I'm getting pulled into you right now. You're so good at getting girls to climb the ladder, to clout chase. I have to start over. I have to go full Lindsay from the jump. Hold on. Lindsay's like, you are so fucking good. I'm getting pulled into you right now. You're so good at getting girls to climb the ladder, to clout chase, to get to wherever you need to go. And then boom, they don't work for you. They don't serve what you need to be served. And you drop them. You're going to do the same fucking thing with Amanda when this is not working out because it's not going to. And you're not going to be able to handle it, Wes, because you're a fucking toddler. And then the reunion ends with this truly Shakespearean wordplay from one Sierra Miller. She says, Or maybe they'll be together because I honestly think that the best woman for West is someone who won't check him on anything. And that's totally Amanda. She's very mute. She's going to be that weak figure that he needs, and he can always be the star in the relationship. So I actually think it might work. Amanda fully starts crying. Kyle whispers to Sierra, that was a little harsh. Sierra's like, that's your wife. That's not my wife. And then Kyle starts crying. He's like, you're totally allowed to feel the way you feel, but that was even hard for me to hear. So yeah, going back to, was it too mean? I honestly probably would have beat up Amanda after she said fuck off. Ooh, Toby, fuck off. So I don't think it was too mean. I think it was very true. I think it was a very accurate read. And what was Sierra to do with this reunion but read Amanda to filth? Like, truth fucking hurts. Again, I think Amanda's been surrounded by enablers her entire life. I don't think she's the type of person who's willing to tell the truth to herself, much less hear it from someone else. And I don't think Sierra was wrong in her assessment. I think Amanda is coming off a relationship with Kyle where she didn't feel chosen because he was cheating the entire time. And I think just feeling chosen by Wes, this guy that she has deemed as this like cool, fun, funny, life of the party, everything that Kyle wanted to be, but to her, he wasn't. The fact that she was chosen by this guy, I think she is so broken and so insecure that that's enough for her and that she's going to do anything to make it work, including, I don't know, fuck over her best friend. I mean, the limit does not exist. So with that said, let's get into your questions. So the first listener question is, do you think Wes and Amanda first hooked up in season 8? A psychic confirmed this. I need to look into this. My intuition, I'm not a psychic, I want to say. And sometimes my intuition is dead wrong, which is why I've been friends with unhinged women like Amanda before. I don't think it goes as far back as season 8. I think that would be crazy. I do think there's a possibility that something happened before last summer. Even like a little kiss or something where it's like, we'll never speak of this again. And then once they were both single at the same time, it like came to a head. That's what I think. But as far as season 8, I'm going to have to look into that. That would be really crazy. But honestly, I don't know what to believe anymore. Next question. Do you think Ben is a demon? Bailey calling him a jackass was amazing. I do think Ben is a demon. I think he's a demon and a loser. I don't think he has any riz. I also don't think he's as attractive as everyone seems to think he is. I'm proud of Bailey for calling him a jackass. Yeah, I thought it was cathartic to watch her just pop off on him. I mean, like, this is something that's like, I have a hard time with straight men making me feel like I did something wrong or like making me look stupid in front of my friends. Like, that's something I'm like actively working through in therapy. I really don't like being in conflict with straight men. It really like freaks me out and overwhelms me. And obviously with women, it's like 10 times worse because I actually care about them. But when a straight man like puts me down in front of a group of people, I get really fucking angry. And sometimes I just internalize it or like cry. So see Bailey so grounded in her power and just be like, no, you're a fucking jackass and you like reprimanding women and I think you're a loser. I loved it. I loved it. It was great. More of that. How many times did you yell, grow up at Amanda? Honey, I haven't stopped yelling grow up since this whole thing started. Every 2 seconds, it's grow up, Amanda. And I really think, I mean, I would love to know more about her parents because it's like, dear Lord, where did y'all go wrong? I mean, it all comes back to off campus, right? You look at a young man like Belmont Cameli and you just want to kiss whoever raised him on the mouth consensually because that is such a well-adjusted, beautiful young man. And then I look at Amanda and I'm like, girl, like this is Arrested Development. And it's, Lindsay said, you know, maybe I did some of this shit in high school or I dealt with some of this shit in high school. We're way too fucking old to be dealing with this stuff and like to be doing things like this. And again, did I do messy shit in my 20s? Yeah. Did I reflect and apologize for it? Also, yeah. We're too damn old. And also it's like, again, you did a fucked up thing. Recover from it. Try to recover from it. But all she seems to be able to do is like roll her eyes and blame everyone else and gaslight each other and run off to Rome. Like it's fucking nuts. Why isn't anyone calling out Amanda's awful attitude? What a segue. I don't know. Like, I really wish someone would just be like, are you seriously rolling your eyes at Sierra right now? Or like after she said fuck off, I wish someone was like, wow, I can't believe you just said that to her. Like, I want more people to take Amanda to task and to just like, yeah, give her pushback and consequences that she's clearly not used to having. Like, I really want like, also because she's like a famous pick-me, I want the guys on the show. Like when Jesse said, why continue to lie? I appreciated that he pushed back on them like that. I want someone like Jesse or Carl to be like, Amanda, I can't believe you're talking to Sierra that way. That's insane. because I know that having a boy mad at her would hit different, unfortunately. Can you talk about everyone's hair choices for approximately 1,000 hours, please? Okay, honestly, I could talk about Hannah from Off Campus's hair for 1,000 years. I violently hated it. But honestly, the only hair notes I really have from the reunion are Amanda's Duty Bomb. I liked Sierra's like red. I thought it was a cool choice. She was giving like cool girl old Hollywood. I didn't mind Bailey's Beachy Waves. But yeah, the main styling choice I had a problem with was Amanda's Duty Bomb bun. I think Carl needed more product in his hair. It looked kind of like he just rolled out of bed. Carl's looking very hot these days, but I just thought we could have done a little more zhuzh with the hair, a little pomade at the front, if you will. And then West looked like he didn't shower. Moving right along. When do you think West and Amanda started hooking up? Again, honestly, I have no idea what to believe anymore, but I think it could have been as early as before they started filming last summer. What timeline do you believe? Okay, so let's talk about this alleged West and Amanda timeline. Let's break it down really quick one more time. So according to Kyle, blinds go back to June 2025. West and Amanda claim their first kiss was March 1st. Sierra thinks it was January 17th. Mia thinks it was at minimum second week of January, so similar timeline to Sierra. Rumors began March 5th. The statement came out March 31st. They allegedly didn't have sex until the day after the statement, which is gross. And then Amanda and Kyle filmed for their scene in the city on April 9th. What do I think the timeline was? Yeah, I think possibly something happened before last summer. I think things got hot and heavy like after they announced the divorce. I honestly think it could have been like post BravoCon. Like, because I think if we think about it, between BravoCon and when did the show start airing? February? Shit. I don't know. I feel like they had some downtime like between seasons, and I feel like in the winter was where it really picked up. I definitely think it was before the Super Bowl. I think it was January. Okay, now that we're talking through this in real life, like real time, I'm in alignment with Mia and Sierra's theory that it was January because like rumors were already swirling like around like right after Super Bowl, like beginning of March. And he was seen with Sierra at the Super Bowl. I can't remember if we know. There's so much information, you guys. I can't remember if they hooked up that weekend or not, Sierra and West. But I definitely think something with Amanda was brewing in January because that's also when the Instagram posts really like ramped up. And as someone who was at BravoCon in backstage areas, obviously I was only in them at certain times. Amanda and West, I didn't see them being touchy-feely at BravoCon, but granted, Kyle was there, although rarely did I see Kyle and Amanda in the same room at the same time. So I think things really picked up post-holiday. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with potential secret kiss before the last season, if we really want to go there. I think that's as crazy as it gets. I think things really picked up in January. That's where I'm at right now, but it could change tomorrow when this goes live. Who knows? New information all the time. What is ear stuff? Okay, you guys, I'm going to be vulnerable with you right fucking now. Safe space, safe space. I mean, I've already told you in this hour about shitting my brains out and puking at the same time, so I think it's a safe space. I had an ex who loved ear stuff, like licking in the ear, licking the lobe, all that stuff. Really turned him on. So like maybe it's one of those things that like West and Sierra both are turned on by, and I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, okay? A little tongue in the ear. Is it something I enjoy? No. Did I bring that move into my relationship with Jake thinking that just all guys liked it? Yes. And he literally giggled and was like, "What are you doing? Stop it." And so not everyone's into ear stuff, okay? That's what I think ear stuff is. It's just licking in and around the ear, nibbling on an earlobe, ear stuff. Not for me, but I played ball for the sake of my relationship in my 20s. Last question, and this is powerful. If you were Sierra, what would you say to Wes and Amanda at their reunion? Now, I could go really disgustingly low, but I'm going to try and be chic. Here's what I would say. I think it's just so painfully pathetic that both of you over the age of 30 are so lost, broken, and insecure that you would screw over me, Kyle, and everyone else on this stage who cared about you both. I don't know how out of touch with reality and yourself you have to be to make a series of this many morally reprehensible choices in a row, but I'm not sure why I'd expect anything more out of two people who clearly peaked in high school or honestly probably closer to 8th grade. West, you don't deserve to be in the same sentence as Robin Williams. Amanda, I'm not going to sit here and say I wish you well because I don't. I hope you get help, but given that you have a severe allergy to any sort of introspection or effort, I think that's a pretty tall and, in your words, silly order. So if you don't get it together, which I doubt you will, my one ask from both of you is that in the future, you can both make your toxic decisions far the fuck away from me. I love how I'm like, I'm not going to go below the belt, but that was pretty mean. That's how I feel. I'm really angry at them. Like, I really, the internet has its way of softening on people after a certain amount of time goes by. I'm still really angry. And this reunion was, I mean, I've been watching Bravo reunions since I was like 17, 18. This was one of the best reunions I've ever seen. And we're only on part one, y'all. Like, they are delivering. And West and Amanda, as angry as I am at them for being such fucking losers, Sierra is firing on all cylinders. And it's just a wonder to watch, you know? I'm having a blast. Wow. Great questions. Thank you all for writing in. Let's wrap this up with Hannah's Hot Girl Corner and grow up. My Hannah's Hot Girl Corner of the week is going on Do Not Disturb. I just think this is embarrassing. My day job is I'm a social media manager, okay? So a lot of my job lives in the phone and on the computer. I went on D&D today and I got so much shit done. And I think our phones are frying our brain. I think going on Do Not Disturb and just interacting, engaging with some other part of your life, even if it's not just your job, like if it's, I'm going to go on Do Not Disturb and read a book. I'm going to go on Do Not Disturb and go for a walk. I'm going to go on Do Not Disturb and cook my dinner. I think going on Do Not Disturb is very hot, very mysterious, and I think it's gorgeous for the old mental health. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, can you tell that I'm feeling myself with this new manicure? I got this gorgeous set today. It's a French manicure with 2 flowers and little gold gems as the middle, and I'm feeling so powerful. I love handwork with a fresh manicure. It's my favorite. Anyways, moving on. Grow up. I mean, my grow up is obvious, and one of the listeners clocked that thesis. My grow up is Amanda Batula the entire reunion. Just not being able to take accountability and getting immediately defensive is so immature, and it pissed me off. And also, grow up West. Grow up West, okay? I think I've come down pretty hard on Amanda with good reason. But also, grow up West. Learn how to speak. Fucking speak. Just speak. Say anything. Learn how to answer for your behavior. Again, if you're going to have the audacity to make those decisions, come with something to say. Even if you're like, well, I was going to say, even if you're like, I don't have the words yet, but it's like, bro, you had plenty of time to think about what you wanted to say to these people. And if you were genuinely sorry in your heart and soul, you would have something to say. It wouldn't be so hard to conjure up the words. So grow the fuck up, you two. Take accountability. By the way, sorry, last thing. I saw a TikTok compilation of Amanda at like 5 different reunions telling people to apologize and take accountability. And just seeing that contrasted with the way she acted in part 1 of the reunion and how I assume she'll act for parts 2 and 3 because it was all shot on the same day, whatever. I mean, what a shame. I'm just like, girl, it just makes me, it leads me to believe that she is the type of entitled brat who is like, those rules apply to everyone else, but not to me. And nothing makes me more mad than an entitled, whiny, gaslighting little brat. And I just, and that's how I'm going to leave you all. Y'all, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for bearing with me this week. I really, really appreciate your patience as I got it all worked out. In all the ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. If you love this podcast, leave it a rating and a review. Share it on Instagram. Share it with a friend. I appreciate all of your reviews, all of your kind messages. They really do mean the world to me. And I'm excited to keep this conversation going next week. I really do feel like I have no choice but to just commit to the Summer House reunion for the next 2 weeks. Are you all game? Are you all down? Thursday release? Let me know what you think. Anyway, thank you all so much. If you don't follow me already, follow me at Hannah Aaron Brown on Instagram and TikTok. That's HANNAHAARON BROWN. If you ever want to get in touch with the show, email me at notaspirationalpod@gmail.com. Watch full episodes on YouTube. If you feel like it, you can see me do my new manicure handwork. And stay tuned because next week I'm going to be... I can't speak. Stay tuned because next week I'm going to be guesting on a very beloved pop culture podcast, and it's going to be really, really fun, and we'll be talking about Summer House over there too. So I love y'all. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.